What's up, everybody, and welcome to BioS3 Raw TV. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the underground steroids that are going around right now and what underground steroids are. Now, underground steroids are pretty much steroids that are not made in a pharmaceutical setting. They're not made by a pharmaceutical company. They're made at somebody's house or a lab, makeshift lab that's set up. They get the raw ingredients and they somehow make them into finished products and they sell them in the black market. Now, the problem with the black market is you just don't know what you're getting. So, before we get into this, let me explain to you, well, first, disclaim this again. The BioS3 channel is starting to really take off, and it's taking off fast. So some of the new viewers that I'm getting these emails from asking me advice, and they haven't seen my other videos, please don't email and ask me for advice. Don't ask me what I think about Trenbolone. Don't ask me how to cut bloat down. Don't ask me what I think about anti-aromatases. That information is online. All you got to do is just Google it, and it pops up. So don't come to me for it, because if something happened to you in my advice, I would feel responsible for it, and I'm not going to do that. I'm not putting myself or you in that position. That being said, the underground steroids that are on the market today are a lot different than they used to be. Okay, back in the late 90s, you had underground stuff that was fairly clean, but you still had some pharmaceutical stuff that was still out there. Parabone was still on the market. Real Primabone was still on the market. Sustenance. There was stuff on the market that was legit from pharmaceutical companies. The homogenins from Brazil that were anadrols, there were legit pharmaceuticals on the market, and not a lot of the underground. Nowadays, a lot of the pharmaceuticals have stopped being made. The underground has taken over, and they're not expensive, which should tell you right there that the quality is not what it should be. And more people are getting access to them, like online or whatever. So I mean, they're all over the place now. Another problem with it is you don't know what they're dosed like or what other ingredients they may be involved in the substance that you're taking. I have one guy that emailed me, who I'm not going to mention his name because maybe he doesn't want people knowing what he's taking. And he's taking Anavar, like 50 milligrams of Anavar. And he says that, first of all, 50 milligrams is a lot. If it's real Anavar, I mean, you don't need any more than 20 milligrams. You just don't. But Anavar is one of those very expensive drugs to produce. So automatically makes me say, this kid's taking 50 milligrams of Anavar that's super expensive. Most people wouldn't be able to afford to run cycles like that. So something right off the bat is up. And he says he keeps getting dehydrated. He's constantly drinking water, which is like 6 to 8 liters a day, and he's still getting cramps in his feet and calves, which is some kind of mineral loss that's happening, and he's thirsty all the time. Okay, that's dehydration. Now, Anavar doesn't cause that, which makes what he's telling me, the symptoms that I'm hearing from him, are a prescription diuretic, like hydrochlorothiazide or Lasix or something that is going to cause that mineral loss, the water loss, and dehydrate you. So let's look at it like this. If somebody who was very enterprising said, okay, I'm going to take, instead of, let's say 20 milligram Anavar tablets, I'm going to produce 5 milligrams of the real Anavar in them, and I'm going to add a diuretic to them. So they'll get a little bit bigger, but shredded and dry, and they'll think that it's just Anavar. Well, that's great if you're going to take one of those tablets. What about this guy who's taking like 3 of them? Now he gets dehydrated because he doesn't even know that there's a diuretic in it. And when I asked him, I said, did you get them from a doctor? He said he got them from a guy he knows. He ordered them from a guy he knows, which means that it's not a doctor. So you don't know what you're getting. It is an underground product, because you're not getting it from a pharmaceutical source, and you don't really know what's in it, and you're having side effects that don't coincide with what you're supposed to be taking. Another guy I had contact me was talking about Primabone, and he was talking about how he takes like 1,000 milligrams of Primabone a day. Now, first of all, when I asked him if it was underground, he said, no, it's pharmaceutical. So I asked him straight out, where did you get it? A guy I know. Okay, first of all, that's not, pharmaceutical. If you buy from the pharmacy, if you go to Mexico, you buy it at the pharmacy, that's pharmaceutical and you know it. Second of all, it was in a multi-ject bottle, not a break-off ampule. Primabones were only produced in break-off ampules worldwide, and even that, Schering stopped producing them a while ago, which means that if you didn't have an old batch, you don't have pharmaceutical Primabone. Again, Primabone and Anavar are the 2 most expensive things that are out there. So what makes you think that you got real Primabone? If you're taking 1,000 milligrams of Primabone, again, that's very hard to afford. 1,000 milligrams, the pros back in the 90s were taking like 300 to 400 milligrams. You're taking 1,000. Some of the doses that I'm hearing these kids and young adults taking, 1,000 milligrams of test, 600 milligrams of Deca, 50 milligrams of D-ball, and they weigh 200 pounds. There's no way you're taking those dosages and only weighing 200 pounds. You would be a gigantic monster if you were taking those dosages. The problem is the products are not dosed right. They're not dosed right because they're underground, and their corners are cut, and some of the materials don't actually have the dosages that they think that are in it. Even if the person making them thinks they're putting 2,000 milligrams in a bottle of testosterone, they may actually be only putting 500 milligrams because the powder's cut. There's no way to test the powder. They just order the raw materials hoping that it's is what it says it is. And back in the 90s, you still had those pharmaceuticals that were around. You had undergrounds, but you had veterinarian labs from Mexico, like Tokyo Labs, Brovel, Tornell, and it was very well known that this stuff was cheap. Like a bottle of testosterone was like $8 from Brovel down in Mexico, and you knew after they had tested them, all the results came out, and instead of 200 milligrams, there was like 85 milligrams in it. So, but who cared for $8? All you would do is just take 2 bottles a week instead, and you're still only paying $16 a week for your doses. So it's a little bit different nowadays. I mean, I would really advise you guys, if you're thinking about taking stuff, and it's in a country where it's illegal, I wouldn't play with this underground stuff. I mean, I really wouldn't. Some of the stuff is very dangerous. And before you guys start contacting me, asking me, hey, which underground labs are the best, I don't mess with the underground stuff at all. I don't. I haven't played with underground in a long time. It's been a long time since I used gear. From something that was, last things I used were, as a matter of fact, pharmaceutical grade. So my advice to you is really stop and think, because you may not just getting the right dosage in it. You may be getting something in there that can give you an infection or actually cause some kind of toxic shock, systemic shock, by putting a foreign substance in your body that may kill you on the spot. You don't know what's in there. It's not a clean lab. It's not made in a pharmaceutical setting, and you're not really sure what's in there. So be careful with this stuff, guys, and be aware of what's out there. Underground is not pharmaceutical, okay? And I don't care who you are, unless you're getting it from a doctor or getting it from a hospital or someplace like that. It's not pharmaceutical. It's underground. And just because the guy at your gym tells you that he got it from the pharmacy, or he got it from a doctor, or he got it from whatever, doesn't mean he's telling the truth, because someone could have sold it to him telling him that they got it from the doctor. And someone could have sold it to that guy telling him he got it from the doctor. Really, it came from Joe's bathtub down the street, where he made 30 batches of Primabol that has 1 milligram of Primabol in them and a whole bunch of E. coli bacteria. So, biostreettrading@gmail.com. Comments down below, www.biostreettrading.com, and we're out.